Good morning, folks. Brian, Geomagnetic Earthwatch here. It is Saturday, December 10th in the year 2022 on our planet. So, I've got a question for you. How many of you know what this is? How many of you even know how to use one of these? Or are you totally dependent on the annoying little computer-generated voice on your GPS and on your smartphone Google Maps saying, in 500 meters, turn left? What are you going to do when it all fails? GPS systems could go down, if not the electrical grid. We're too dependent on all this technology, and when it goes down, almost all of us are not going to know how to use this. So what are you going to do? I would pick up one of these and keep it in your car. But don't just keep it in your car. Know where you are in relation to one of these and how to use it, how to get from point A to point B. Get one for your own local area and get one for your countrywide. Know your primary and secondary routes in and out in the event of an emergency, a disaster. It could be earthquake, could be wildfire, could be Ben's micronova or whatever. But again, include your children's in your planning and in your preps. When you take your kids to school, I think maybe about half of them are still asleep. And the other half have their faces glued into their smartphones. How many actually are paying attention to landmarks and features on the way to school? How many would know how to get home if they had to get home on their own by foot or bike? Again, if they had to. Or do you have pre-arranged meeting points, preferably somewhere with shelter, where in the event of a disaster, not just your children, it could be other family members would go to meet you. So they would be traveling in one direction. Cut the end of my finger off on a table saw when I was 11 years old. And you're coming down in the other direction, and at least you meet in a prearranged meeting place where you can take them safely home. When I used to ask my daughter, what's the oldest GPS in the world? And she would sarcastically say, you, Daddy. Actually, the oldest GPS system in the world is 4.8 billion years old. As long as you know in which direction you want to go, knowing the time of the day, and where the sun is that time of the day. Briefly, for example, if it's around noon, give or take an hour, and you know you have to go west, generally, you know the sun's going to be in the south of you. Therefore, you want to keep the sun on your left-hand side as you're traveling west, as an example. The oldest GPS in the world. Know which direction you want to go: east, west, north, south, northwest, southeast. Know where the sun is, know the time of the day. Secondly, how many of you have one of these and know how to use one? Now this becomes a little bit more complicated because of the rapidly moving magnetic north, and this will focus on between the geographical north and the magnetic north, which is moving away. When it comes to being prepared in the event of a collapse or shit hits the fan event or situation, you are going to lose access to all sources of information to help you to do this and help you to do that. So I start collecting those books. Anything I don't have up here. I go to thrift stores. And anything to do with how-to books. Anything you can find. This is a good one. Ooh. Country wisdom and know-how. Any know-how book. Wild edibles. How to cook from scratch. How to make things. How to do things. That one day will become more valuable than your smartphone, which won't be able to tell you anything. More valuable than a bag of gold. So just pick yourself up a map book, if they even exist anymore in the gas stations. It's one thing I'm noticing. Stores, grocery stores, used to have them everywhere. I don't see them anymore. One thing I noted also on the news, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that Amazon will no longer be shipping books. Stock up on your books, your how-to books, how to survive books. Books. That's it for now, folks. Have a swell day.